Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, Doom Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Skaggs and the Captain, and we have a very special guest today. What's up, KRYZ?
What's going on, baby? What's up, guys?
Glad to have you back, pal.
Burning the midnight oil.
I'm happy to be back on. I love you guys.
With the king of the trash realm,
Yes,
as we like to call him.
Yes,
on the late
absolutely.
night.
Yep, late night pod. Let's go.
So what's going on, man? We wanted to have you on. The news lately has kind of gotten into your realm of gaming.
Trash realm.
And let's not do what we did with Zach. Why don't you tell everybody where they could find you on your streaming and all that stuff now before we go off on some tangents with the shit that makes no sense.
All right, so yeah, you can find me. So I'm a streamer. My name is KRYZ. You can go on YouTube and Kick. Kick will be KRYZZZ, and on YouTube is KRYZ Gaming. I'll be up on the top. So yeah, I'm a streamer that mainly does Call of Duty, Apex, all that good stuff.
How's season 4 of Call of Duty? I didn't even update mine.
I'm the new one. I haven't played yet, the new season, but the game is trash. But we'll get into that.
All right.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about the gamer world has kind of crossed into the political world again. This is not the first time this has happened. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Gamergate. Happened a while ago. And then also we have to touch on Trump's second indictment. It's Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah,
Seems
we
like
got him
again.
again.
Again, it's Groundhog Day. There's going to be an indictment once a month now, I guess, until the election. So we'll touch on that too. Those will be our two main topics, plus some tweets of the week. Jimbo, why don't you tell us what's been going on before we get into like the meat and potatoes of with Nick Merckx and stuff? What's been going on with Twitch and the streaming space to begin with? I know like there's a lot of turmoil aside from the political thing.
Oh yeah. So last week in
Twitch
general,
is real rough, right?
So that it's a perfect combination, right? So like last week, the industry itself has just been, a lot of people been upset, angry, trying to figure out. So if I can I just real quick just explain like put into some context of like this whole Nick Merckx situation, right? So Nick Merckx is a huge streamer. He's got like 4 million YouTube subscribers. The guy's been big since back in Gears of War days, and he's worked his way to the top. So is Tim the Tap Man, Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, Ninja. All these guys have been streaming for many years, and so with Twitch, so it takes a long time to grow a community. You guys should know too, because you guys got a podcast channel on YouTube. It takes work and it takes a lot of effort to get to some exposure and to build a community. So like it does take a lot of work. What has happened to Nick Merckx is just absolutely insane. They really, to get your own operator skin within the game is huge for a streamer, for anybody for that matter, just to be exposed to globally around the world. It's just crazy to see how that happened. And it's just with the Twitch thing too. So what we're seeing the gamers, which are the public, the people, versus corporations. And it's just a melting pot at this point. This has been happening, like you said, for a while, but it's gotten to a point where people are saying enough is enough. We cannot continue to keep doing what we're doing, using your platform. And you guys see it too on your end with YouTube, dealing with like, copyright strikes, warnings, all this stuff. You guys are getting banned. This is literally
Christmas episode was getting banned.
Christmas episode getting banned with where was Funko Pops, right? Exchange and stuff, and you guys, lost that video. But this is exactly what you guys are experiencing, is what the streamers are also experiencing as well. So that's within itself. So Twitch decided, at first it was a 70-30 split with subs, right? Subs, you get to sub to someone's channel and be like, hey, listen, I like you. Here's $5. I'm going to sub or gift a sub. Here's $5, another $5 to gift to somebody else. They had a 70-30 split. Then they changed it to a 50-50 split. And that was huge, because now you're saying if someone made $80,000, which is a good salary to live on, you have to now take 40 of that, give it to Twitch, And on top of that, you have to pay, guess what?
taxed.
Tax.
Yeah.
Right. So you're basically
why this is huge too is there are a lot of streamers who are streaming for a living. Like that's their 9 to 5 job. That's what they do. Now, most people in the world, you know how much money you make a year at any given moment, right? Like, I make $50,000 a year or whatever. Now, imagine if the next day your job was just like, oh yeah, well, we're just, you're going to make like a fourth less or something like that. Now you you already have a budget, you have a lifestyle that you need to support. And then all of a sudden, half of your money is gone overnight.
Gone. And now, so that happened with the 50-50 split. Now it gets even better. They start to go after sponsorships. If you're sponsored by, like, let's say G Fuel, Dubby, any of these, I actually just met a streamer last night who's a professional streamer. She plays for the New York City Subliners for the Call of Duty League. She is sponsored by Sony, by Astros, the headsets that I'm wearing. So you're meaning to tell me she can't have a banner no more than 3% of the size of the screen in her stream? Then you're going to ban her or get rid of her. Like, that's insane. So obviously she went to Kick. If you guys are thinking to make the switch, go to Kick. It's good. It's way better. But but the banners and the burn-in ads. So let's say if you guys was sponsored by a cigar company and you had a burnt-in ad, you cannot play that anymore. It's over. So this is another stream of money, of income going to the streamers. They got rid of that, and they're attacking all that stuff on top of the 50-50 split. So
Did you also tell me that a lot of streamers have contracts with these companies that advertise with them, and in the contract it'll say like, hey, if you're going to stream, you have to advertise our product in your episode.
That's
like,
what the contract. You have to.
So now they've been cornered or put in a hard spot where they literally are not allowed to have the advertisement in their stream. So they can't stream without doing it.
And they break their contract.
There's nothing they can do. They just are stuck.
Nope.
On Twitch. We're talking about Twitch here.
Twitch, yeah.
So now what's the point of Twitch doing this? Because it sounds like they're just hell-bent on like driving their clients away. Like they're just self-destructing the company.
Well, so in short, what we're seeing is this is not the old Twitch. This is the new Twitch. This is Amazon's Twitch. Okay. Amazon bought Twitch. So what you're seeing is they have to see an ROI, a return on investment for their investors. So that means they need money. And what's the best way to attack is going after the streamers saying, no. You guys are not going to make money off of ads. We're making money off of ads. We're coming after your pockets. We need more money. So the 50-50 was basically, that was what it was. Now they're saying, no, we have to run the ads because they'll get more money for exposure than a streamer would if they're not running their own ads and their sponsorships. And
I'd like to see the report of like how much money they lost because they did this. And like there had to be a mass exodus. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wondering if this increase in everything made them the profit they're looking for over using the money walking out the door.
To see the results of the free market sorting this out.
So we already know the results. We already know the results. In a week, Kick, the platform, has seen 500,000 users.
Jesus.
In a week. Kick has now 5 million user accounts on their platform.
Wait,
now,
question, Hunt. When did this all happen? Because this sounds like it's
literally
happening these past few weeks.
This literally happened 2 days before Nick Merckx.
Okay.
Right.
So I didn't hear about that.
So this is fresh. Everybody
I don't follow streamers like that. Yeah.
Everybody has pitchforks. Everybody's ready to go. Like, hey, what's going on here? So now this is I'm going to try to relate this into the Nick Merckx thing.
Yeah. And I got this stuff here. I'll show for
everybody. Yeah. So what happened is now, and what everybody is realizing is the arrogance between companies and individual content creators saying, so Twitch is out here saying we have no competition. We are going to do whatever we want to do because we are Twitch. Everybody uses our platform strictly for any streaming services, any streaming content. So they have to run through us. And now what people are saying is just like, no, that's not true, because now you have Kick, you have Rumble, you have YouTube. So people were like, screw you, we're out of here. If I can't make it a living on your platform and you're going to hinder my opportunity to make money, I'm leaving. So now with the Nick Merckx case is the same thing. The arrogance of removing him is like saying, yeah, you know what? We're just going to get rid of you and everything is going to be A-okay. Nope. Big mistake, because people are saying, first of all, you want to know something really funny about this whole Nick Merckx thing? Nick Merckx wasn't even playing Call of Duty when he even got his operator skin. He was playing Apex. He did not like the game whatsoever, period.
So they were trying to like lure him to play Call of Duty?
They lured Nick Merckx and Tim the Tatman to head over to Call of Duty. Well, shout out to Tim the Tatman, because Tim the Tatman is a COD player. He's a player, but also he's huge on like spectating, doing that type of content where he's spectating players. And he makes great content. But with Nick Merckx, he wasn't playing the game. He didn't like the game at all. He was playing Apex. So they were hurting because they lost 300,000 gamers because the game just literally sucks. So with the new update, they decided, okay, we're going to change some things. And then later on in the season, we're going to release the Nick Merckx and Tim the Tatman operator bundle. Now, here's the best part. They're using the same model that Fortnite uses, which is we are going to survive and make more money by just selling operator skins. Do you know how much they were selling his skin for?
Yeah. What, 30, 40 bucks, 50?
$20 for an operator skin.
So let me provide some context to those that are listening that are probably not gamers and never played, like maybe the older crowd that might be listening. In Call of Duty, like there is a marketplace in the game, and you can go in the marketplace and use real money to buy stuff for your character in the game, like a skin. You could change the way the appearance of your character in the game looks, and you could pay for these things. Now, like you were saying before, Jamie, Nick Merckx is so popular in the streaming world that the game has literally created a skin that other players can purchase of Nick Merckx, and it's in the game. And I'm assuming, Jamie, he gets does he get a percentage or something from?
Absolutely gets he has to get a percentage from that. It's his name and likeness. He gets money for each skin that's sold. Activision makes a couple of dollars. Well, they make a huge percentage, but also Nick Merckx gets a huge amount of money off those sales.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like where we're setting the table here. I do also like what we're saying too, just philosophically, and kind of tie it into libertarianism and the free market. Like, do you see how like the free market will sort this shit out and provide alternatives when things 100%. Are being fucked over? Like you can say, especially in terms of YouTube and Twitch, we all know like the government is leaning hard on these things, trying to
regulate. They're working hand in hand, yeah.
Right, but do you see now like Rumble has emerged and it's like a force, and now Kick has emerged and it's a force. I'm not saying the government still can't try and like stop these things out and get involved, but free markets always win out at the end of the day, and they're always the best way to solve a problem. Like if you make a shitty thing, like YouTube is making as a shitty product right now, and Twitch is making a shitty product right now, somebody will fucking come up with a better one, and then you'll go over there and you'll use their product instead.
Even Reddit. I don't even know if you guys know about the whole Reddit thing that's happening right now, is that they made some policy changes and the moderators are blocking out each subreddit. They're blocking it and making it private, that nobody can access any of these discussion subreddits. So nobody can basically use the platform because the company decided to make a few policy changes. And the CEO came out recently saying, it's okay. It's gonna pass. Like the arrogance that they have, they're so out of touch with reality. It's insane.
What it comes down to is we, the people, need to give them the paddling on the ass. My favorite, it's Bud Light. It's Bud Light right now. They fucking so they got the report at the end of May, and for the first time ever, we spoke about this on a previous episode, and then we went out on a Friday night and probably put Modelo over, but but Modelo outsold fucking Bud Light for the first time ever, and summer's only kicking off, so this is when beer sales go up. So to lose like 30-something% of your sales because and on top of it, constantly, instead of like apologizing, Bud Light's, it's just a temporary contract with Dylan Mulvaney. It's just
one can.
Yeah, it's just one can. They can't own up to what they did, and for that they will pay. And the more we make companies pay, the message will get across. And eventually, because they're whatever BlackRock or whatever, paying them with their DEI score or whatever it is, eventually we got to see where the market leads. is the money walking out the door more or less than what BlackRock is paying you?
Right.
But that's where Zach says the free market is so important. It balances itself out. It's like, okay, capitalism at its finest. That's it. Either you fail or you succeed. You're failing. Well, you did this to yourself. Now burn internally. That's it.
Yeah. Now, in a lot of these right now, like that's how it should be, right? Like that's why I'm an anarcho-capitalist, because I believe in that. That will sort itself out. But like the world we live in is not like that. Right, like the reason why a lot of these companies are doing things that damage themselves, and they still kind of are like going along with it anyways, because of their access to capital, like the ESG score that we talked about with Clint Russell, where they're just getting investment money from BlackRock for doing whatever BlackRock wants them to do, even if it's not like in their market interest, like Bud Light or Twitch or YouTube, right? Like all of the stuff YouTube's been doing the past couple of years, like, is that really in their market interest to alienate the people who make the content for YouTube? No, it's not. Like, how many shows have been kicked off that people would have watched, right? Like Rumble essentially exists because of YouTube's behavior. It probably wouldn't exist otherwise. If
YouTube would still be the top of the
Kick literally exists because a streamer partnered up with a businessman and said, enough is enough. We need to start our own platform because they're censoring. They're going in a direction we don't want, and it's not for streamers anymore. And sure enough, Kick is a spawn of Twitch. If you go on their platform, everything looks like Twitch, but it's green. That's it.
Yeah.
Competition.
So let's get into what this guy actually did to be removed from, that started all this controversy.
Sure. So, I mean, this is what gets into like the culture war aspect of what we talk about on the show often. And I mean, it's the most simple tweet probably of all time that's become the most controversial tweet of all time. And it's from Nick Merckx. And he says, they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. And what's he talking about? He's responding to a tweet about in Glendale, California. There's been like these Armenian parents have been protesting at the public school there, saying like, hey, we don't want all the LGBTQ Pride Month stuff like in the course in the school for our children. And so Nick Merckx just tweets they should leave little children alone. That's the real issue. And I mean, boy, Jamie, I'm sure you'll talk about like the backlash he has gotten from this. You could actually even read his tweet and not even know what side he's even taking. Like he doesn't specifically say like, hey, I'm a far right winger who hates gay people. Well, no, just they should leave the little children alone.
Can I just make a point?
Far right extremist.
Can I make a point real quick and just try to make this as clear as possible? And I'm going to speak on myself, but I'm going to say a good majority of streamers are literally streaming games so they can remove themselves from reality. The minute that anything is labeled or politicized, that's when I guess people go up and they get crazy. You're attacking someone. First of all, he got a lot of positive support after he made this statement, which I mean, it's, the only criticism I have of this is that maybe not putting under a video like this, but if that wasn't under that video, I mean that statement should be okay with everybody.
It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter to begin with, because at the end of the day, all he's saying is just leave children alone. There was a picture I saw on Twitter of these two little girls at a gay pride parade, and standing in front of them were 3 full-grown hairy men in fucking assless chaps and shit. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you want to teach kids about gay culture and you want to teach kids about, trans and stuff. These are cultures and they are part of this world. But at what point in time does this little girl need to be seeing 3 full-grown hairy men asses?
Yeah.
She doesn't. At the end of the day,
it's all up to the parents. At the end of the day, it's not the government's, decision to say what is best for your child. You are the parent. If you're allowing that, I got questions for the parents.
That's what the goal is. That's what the goal is. Eventually, the children will be owned by the state. Full control.
So let's provide the rest of the context here. Like we were talking about before, the skin, Nick Merckx's skin in Call of Duty. Call of Duty even tweeted here, which I have. It said, due to recent events, we have removed Nick Merckx operator bundle from the Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone store. We are focused on celebrating Pride with our employees and our community. So because he tweeted, they should just leave the kids alone. They removed Nick's operator bundle from the store, like we were setting the stage again before. Man, it's like a gigantic achievement to be able to get something like that in there. Now, he hasn't been banned or anything like that, but they are, like he said something that is controversial. So they're, in a sense, limiting him or punishing him for what he said. And what he said is obviously not a controversial statement whatsoever. If you're a normal person,
right. If that's a controversial statement, you realize you're part of the problem.
Yeah. Right? So here's where I want to go with this. I'm not going to name any names here, but somebody we know made a tweet about this.
You don't listen anyway.
Yeah. And again, it's just not to throw stones at people that we know on the show, but this person said, leave the kids alone is for some folks who are trying to push this message, basically coded ways of saying, I don't like gay people and think they're immoral. Oh, man. I mean, no, that's not the case.
It's the fact that kids are hanging out with half-naked men in school reading books about sticking butt plugs up your ass. That's the problem.
Skaggs, can you do me a favor? Can you just pull up the response he had the day after he got in trouble by Call of Duty? It was actually the best response I've seen on Twitter. He doubled down with what he said, and he goes, this is the best decision for me and my family. I have no hate in this heart. Let me tell you something. This guy has millions of people in his community. This guy doesn't even represent hate or violence. Why are we assuming that this guy is a hateful person? And this is why people are boycotting the game. He's a great streamer. He is a good person. He just has some standards for him and his family. Why are we criticizing that?
Because they're not the right standards.
Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're good.
Oh, yeah. It just popped off. Friends are created in good times, but families are built through adversity. Appreciate all of you that have my back, understand my position as a new father, and recognize the love I have for all. Ain't no hate in this heart. Peace and love. I mean, come on, and also Tim the Tap Man, who also shares an operator bundle. He went with Nick Merckx to get a body scan at Activision. He requested them to remove his operator bundle because he didn't feel that it was okay for him to have his up while Nick's was not.
You know what?
But here's the thing with that. Tim the Tap Man's response, his video response, with Nick Merckx situation, he was kind of tiptoeing around the situation, and I think he got more flack from people in the streaming community saying that, hey, listen, you're not going to have your friends back. And the next day he made the decision to request Call of Duty take down his bundle, and they did take down his bundle as well. So it's like the streaming community has Nick and Tim. Like Tim the Tap Man he made a whole full 180 on the situation because he didn't want to get in trouble either. And this is what you're causing, is people are scared to be themselves.
Right. It's self-censorship. It's like, putting pressure on people to just toe the line or whatever. Now, the thing Bud Light has taught everyone is like that works both ways, right?
Yeah.
Now, it is what it is. We're humans. We have culture. We have standards, morals, everything. So, like, at the end of the day, like, who's going to win out here? You have some power. And if we, and at least in my opinion, if we're going to like shame people for things, it's for taking advantage and sexualizing children. We should be shaming them for that, not for not sexualizing them. Because that's the other end of this, right? Like people are getting shamed or they're getting pressured into keeping their mouths shut, to not speaking out against things that are gross. Like you were talking about before, assless chaps in front of kids.
The one white pill of this all is if you look at who drinks Bud Light, and if you look at who used to drink Bud Light and who used to play Twitch and who follows these streamers, that's a real good pulse on a large scale of the quote unquote average American. And this is how the majority of average Americans actually feel about this nonsense. You could see it in their drinking habits. You could see it in their gaming habits now. And I'm sure we could expand this and see it in other industries taking place. You know, people boycotting Target. Target lost money. So now you could see it in the average American's spending and shopping habits. So the white pill here is, this is the majority of the country that feels this way. What the media is presenting, this whole agenda, is just that, an agenda-driven narrative that the media is portraying. And it honestly, it's probably only 2% of the fucking population.
I'd also say, man, real quick, that like to go back to what the person we know was saying, how like this is just a way for people who hate gay people to like kind of just make an excuse. I'm not going to even say that everyone involved in the pushback against like Pride Month and stuff doesn't hate gay people. Like there definitely are some people who just straight up are bigots and hate stuff. But I'm gonna be honest with you, like that is a minority of everyone pushing back against this stuff. And if you look at the overwhelming majority of people talking about this and whatnot, it's all about children. They just don't want children being sexualized. And for people to like do these mental gymnastics to rationalize children being sexualized, it's fucking weird, dude. And it's just, in my opinion, more evidence of like everyone has been fucking psyoped by this thing to convince them, you know, a man is not a man and a woman is a woman and war is peace in Ukraine and all that shit.
The
like
pedophile agenda.
You know, yes, anything. It's a zombie virus, a social zombie virus. Like whatever you're told, you will do, you will believe, even if it doesn't make any fucking logical sense to most normal people.
It's funny you say that. I saw a picture of Woody Harrelson, and he was in the Zombieland gear, and it's like, don't worry about the zombie apocalypse. That's never going to happen. Worry about the dumbass apocalypse because we're in it right now.
But and at the end of the day, it's, you know, these companies like Twitch and like Activision, because they're all the same. They're in it for their bottom line, right?
Mm-hmm.
They all think we're idiots.
Yes.
They literally think we're
hate
dumb.
Us. Yes.
They think that we're going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to just roll with whatever they're going to come out with. And I think the Nick Merck situation is a perfect example where people are like, no. This is where we draw the line. That's just remove someone who worked so hard. Because let me tell you something. You guys know content creating, if you're a content creator, it is very hard to build your community, build a platform. It's very hard. So if someone is successful at it, they work their ass off to get to that place. And for you to remove that off of something that was just so, I don't even know like what to say. It was just a statement that should be normal. It
should be celebrated. You should be held up as a hero for making that statement, right?
Yeah,
defending children. He's a new dad.
And what you did was, and what you did was, you demonized him, you labeled him, and then now you hurt his income too as well. You took money out of his pocket to make this statement. And I think we're at a point where, especially content creators or just people in general, they don't care about the financial threats that these companies and corporations are making at this point. It's like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? And good for them. You know what? Some people, hey, you need obviously you need money to survive in this world. That's the truth. However, as people are taking a risk and saying, you know what? I'm okay with what I have right now, and I'm going to live up to my principles and stick by them. And that's okay. And that's your opinion should matter.
Yeah, period. I think also most people nowadays need to go into whatever. If you're a content creator, you need to be aware that like we are in a civil war. Like whether you like it or not, whether it's not like kinetic in the streets yet, but in some aspects it's a civil war, of a cold civil war, a cultural civil war, whatever. And if you're going to put your opinion out in any way, shape, or form, you're now on the battlefield, right? Yep. And if you're not ready for that, then don't do it. You know, like then get out of the way. Because other people will do it. And this is what they're going to do, right? What you're saying is what they're going to do. They're going to destroy you if you take the opposing side opinion. And I mean, just this is a ridiculous thing to even have to be on the battlefield. But it's just another example of how like gigantic the government and politics has become, that now a simple statement of leave the kids alone by a gamer is blown up
No one's untouchable.
And
no
the
one's
perfect
untouchable.
and the perfect individuals are streamers to push out your game. So these developers actually need streamers to promote their games. So when you did that to Nick and Tim said, "Hey, remove my bundle," and then you have Dr. Disrespect, who is a massive streamer on a fucking crazy end, say, "You know what? Until you either put his skin back up or give him a public apology, I will never play this game ever again."
Yeah, that takes
you
balls.
just have hurt your fucking quarterly earnings this year, boy. Let me tell you.
Let me tell you, man, for someone called Dr. Disrespect, I got nothing but respect for that motherfucker. He literally, I mean, that is a giant. That's like, Dr. Disrespect not playing Call of Duty. Again, for those who are not familiar with video games, like Call of Duty is like one of the most popular games, like mainstream games everybody plays. For Dr. Disrespect to just be like, "Hey, I'm not going to play anymore," as if like, I don't know, like, any like Odell Beckham Jr. in his prime was like, "Hey, you know what? The NFL did something I don't like, so I'm just not going to play in the NFL anymore."
I hate to do it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, good.
I hate to do this to you. Can you pull up his tweet? His response to finding out Nick Merck's operator got pulled from the store.
I'll look for it.
It's literally this. It comes full circle with what we're talking about here. It's hilarious. So if for those of you who don't know, Dr. Disrespect also got banned off of Twitch, and nobody really knows why. They just banned him. He never got back on. So he has a great rivalry with Twitch. So he actually correlated Twitch with Activision, its PR team, and it's hilarious in the Dr. Disrespect fashion.
What is his tweet about exactly? I didn't see this one.
It was like who's running Activision's PR team? Yeah.
I see it. Hang on 1 second.
You know who's running it? The FBI.
Elvis Chan, right? Yeah. So it's Dr. Disrespect, who's running Call of Duty PR and marketing now. Same people from the Purple Snakes. Pathetic.
Yeah,
I don't get the reference. Is that a gamer reference? Purple Snakes?
No, Purple Snakes is Twitch because he got banned off of Twitch.
Okay.
So he's asking, are the same people running Call of Duty the same people who are running Twitch who banned me? He got banned. Dr. Disrespect, out of all people, got banned off of Twitch. The guy he's literally a pioneer.
Yeah, I know.
Like, the same way Joe Rogan's a pioneer podcast, he's a pioneer in streaming. Obviously, there's been many people
they must be
him,
making more money than he's bringing in. It's the only, I can't imagine why these corporations are so self-destructive and just freely allowing this money to walk out the door. It has to be getting paid somewhere else.
I also think so? Just the white pill. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, I was just
asking. I mean, as you said before, at the end of the day, it all comes down to their bottom line. Everybody is in this to make money in some way, shape, or form, and to allow hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars to walk out your door, you got to be making it up somewhere else.
It goes back to ESG and BlackRock and the Federal Reserve, and the elites don't want to compete, right? Like, yes, what you were saying before, they just want you to shut up, accept what our product is, accept our agenda. And then if you don't want to buy it, well, there's the ESG score. There's the investors who are pushing that agenda behind it that could give them access to cheap capital. Again, the white pill behind all this, man, is that, the fourth turning, hard times create strong men. Like Dr. Disrespect, that's the white pill. That's one of those guys who just like, fuck it, whatever. Fuck you. I might be the most popular thing, and this medium has given me my popularity. Fuck it. I'll just leave and go do something else.
And make no mistake.
Principles and honor. Yeah.
And make no mistake,
those are the kind of people we were always talking about. Kappa, there's like nobody wants to lead, nobody wants to, but like there are examples, and it's so 2023 and so stupid that it's gamers that have to be the ones sometimes to step up. But
Isn't that wild?
It's great. I'm all for it, man.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's honestly, culture is important, right? And gamers are on the front lines of culture. Like video games are huge. In my opinion, it's even more important that gamers get involved in the shit, because how many young kids are watch gamers and are fans of them, of Dr. Disrespect. And if he just kowtowed to whatever the fuck the outrage, stupid shit was of the day, that's the example then he's setting for all those people who like him. Instead, he had a backbone. He stood up for something and he followed it up, like he put his money where his mouth is. I think that's a great fucking example set for all the people who follow him, all the kids and whatnot.
And what I was going to say is that by him doing that, people literally followed him and said, you know what, we're going to boycott the game. So now guess what? Nobody's playing this season that's coming out tomorrow at all. Yes. Like there's nobody going to be playing. I mean, there are people who are going to play, like myself, because I'm just an addictive, competitive asshole. But there's people who are like, you know what? No, bullshit. This is fucking stupid. This is, you can't be doing this to people. So, kudos to them.
Good. Yeah. There's an upheaval in all areas of the marketplace right now, beer, video games, etc. So why don't we transition to the next part of the show where we're going to talk about Groundhog Day.
Yeah. The real nonsense.
Yeah. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know, ex-president Donald Trump has been indicted again and arraigned, this time in Miami, Florida. I got this from CNBC. Donald Trump pleaded not guilty Tuesday to the first federal charges ever filed against the U.S. president, former or current, hours before he delivered a grievance-packed speech to a cheering crowd of political donors at his New Jersey golf club. Trump turned himself in at a Miami federal courthouse in the afternoon, and he was booked on the second set of criminal charges he has faced this year. The leading 2024 Republican presidential candidate was arraigned and pleaded not guilty to 37 counts related to allegations that he kept hundreds of classified documents after he left the White House and resisted efforts to return them to federal record keepers. Trump is charged with willful retention of national defense information, conspiracy to obstruct justice, withholding a document or record, corruptly concealing a document or record, concealing a document in a federal investigation, scheme to conceal, and false statements and representations.
Can we just hold on one second? That's exactly what the FBI is doing in the Joe Biden bereavement case.
Projection at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Trump aide and co-defendant Walt Nauta was initially expected to be arraigned Tuesday, but he did not enter a plea as he did not have a local lawyer. He arrived at the courthouse with Trump, surrendered, and was booked. As a condition of Trump and Nauta's release, the pair will not be allowed to contact one another. So it's not even just Trump. It's his buddy, his advisor over there. They also got him too. What do you guys think, man? I mean, like I said, Groundhog Day. Second indictment in as many months, is it? I guess.
Yeah. Isn't it strange that as the more information that comes out about Joe Biden, the harder they clamp down on Donald Trump? The same day that the FBI finds that we find out that there's like 17 recordings of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden with this national diplomat doing a pay-to-play scheme
with the guy from Burisma.
Yeah. All of a sudden, that's the day Trump's arraignment is. It's all woke projection. What was I going to say? I had something about this too. I don't think he's going to spend a day in prison. This is all. What did she say? Rachel Maddow said it, the quiet part out loud. They're doing this in hopes that if you drop out of the presidential race, we'll drop all the charges.
Yeah, I think Rachel Maddow literally said like Trump should just take the quid pro quo. And like he should just drop out of the race and they'll let him go.
Yeah.
Like she literally said that on her show.
That's never gonna happen. They're scared. They're scared. They are pulling out all the stops they can because
DEFCON 5.
If Trump gets elected, they're all fucked. They're all fucked. It's gonna be, well, I hope they're all fucked. I can't say for certain that they will be because justice is never served in this country. But we have a two-tier justice system. Half the stuff you just spoke about that they're charging them on, Hillary Clinton was guilty of with her 33,000 emails in her server. But, that was a slap on the wrist, that investigation.
Using, the Espionage Act here, which I want to make the quick point, Jamie, before we get your take on this whole thing. I've referenced many times from the libertarian point of view that the FBI should be abolished. Libertarians have always thought it should be abolished. It hasn't just become corrupt. It's always been corrupt. The Espionage Act can be traced all the way back to President Woodrow Wilson, who used it to imprison people that were like protesting World War I because people some Americans didn't want us to be involved in World War I, right? The FBI were the ones doing the arresting of World War I protesters. And the espionage. Now, all these years later, they're using the Espionage Act to basically persecute Donald Trump for having Fox.
Again, political front runner for the 2024 election.
This ties back to the raid on Mar-a-Lago, This is the same documents they were talking about. Jamie, what do you think, man, about this whole thing? I want to get your take.
Definitely DEFCON 5 for sure, and political theater. 1000%. That's it. I mean, you could just tell automatically by all those counts that you guys was, I was laughing, smiling, because it's just like everybody, the reasonable American understands what's going on. It's just at this point, it's you sent something earlier today, right, of an interview between Comey and Jen.
We're gonna play that. We're gonna play that. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm going too further, but I literally open it up and I go, "Is that Jen Psaki?"
Yeah.
Like doing the interview with Comey. I go, that's literally the problem with this country. Yeah. Like right there, that interview itself.
Two people on the inside.
The press secretary is doing an interview. Like I thought, like once you're the White House secretary, you're gone out of existence. You come out with a couple of books. You're a millionaire. You're in Martha's Vineyard, and you retire at an early age. What is she doing an interview? I couldn't believe it. But I mean, listen. Hey, we all know what's going on. They're trying to attack him before his campaign really gets started. And man, they really don't want him to be president. They really don't want him to be president.
Everybody's saying that, he's done. He's not worried in the least bit. The guy went to a cafe and bought everybody lunch afterwards and then flew out on his jet to New Jersey. Real worried, real scared.
I'll go back to the last episode, or maybe it was one before, the two-parter with Zach, where you guys both said, or maybe it wasn't both of you, but Zach was like, Trump's really like no threat to the deep state or the establishment, because like if he was, like they wouldn't even entertain it. And anyway, I'm like, I'm going to rebut that. No, like he is a threat. They can't outright assassinate you anymore the way they did to Kennedy. So like this is the new assassination. Every month. There's other ones coming down the pipe here, folks. Yeah. Like every other month, there's going to be an indictment. They're going to try and throw as much shit at the wall as they possibly can to get in the guy's way. Now, is any of it going to stick? I don't know. We'll see. But even if it doesn't, he's going to be tied up in fucking court appearances. He can't go and campaign. Like the schedule's going to be conflicting. Yeah. Every question's going to be about that instead of, hey, what's your position on this?
That's the idea.
Do you understand, folks, like what the angle is here?
This is election interference.
Yeah, even if they don't, YouTube. Right, yeah, that's okay. You can even say that now. We can even question it now. But even if he doesn't actually end up in a prison cell, they'll have hopefully made a dent. This is probably like their goal, a dent by wasting enough of the man's time that he won't be able to be elected again.
And on top of it, think what it does for everybody running against him. Trump's the orange bad man. He's being prosecuted right now. He's under investigation. It's going to be everyone else's talking point. Trump's going to be the only one there trying to put America first and make the changes that America needs. And everybody else is just going to be focused on, well, he's in trouble, so he's not really for America first. It's all just going to be used against him because what's the left going to run on? We're going to groom your children,
basically what they're running on.
Vaccine mandates. It's not favorable platforms. They're only running, in favor of this small minority. They have to get Trump out of the way one way or another. And every Republican is going to be watching on election night at 3:00 in the morning. You're not going to be able to have a 400,000 voter dump just pop up on the screen this time.
I would just like to make a point and an observation because Skaggs brought up a good point. It's like only two types of tactics that they really, and they is really broad it, but deep state, corporations, elitist, whatever.
That's right. We know what you mean by that.
Yeah. So there's two type of tactics, right? And we just explained one earlier on with financial sabotage, but another one is brand sabotage,
character assassination,
and character assassination. And it's the same thing that they're doing to your boy Nick Merckx right now, where it's brand assassination and also financial sabotage. Financial sabotage can't really be done with Trump. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna attack his character. We're gonna attack his brand and be like, hey, look, this guy is he's gonna be a convicted felon. Would you want to vote for this guy? Everybody. Right. And here's the thing: is we're sitting here talking about this, but majority of Americans understand literally what's going on.
Yeah. They're still going out to vote for him. This is only.
I hope so.
That's
I hope
the.
So. You still got to show up. You still got. We still got to do this.
100%. No, 100%. Yeah.
The amazing thing though is there is a subsection of his base, a large section of his base that ain't going anywhere. And the great thing with what's going on is, for, as you're saying, any reasonable person, anybody who's wise to this shit and sees what's going on is going to dig their heels in deeper. They are only going to make themselves look worse. You know?
Yeah. But they have to know that it just doesn't work. What happens is you birth more people who are like, no, this is bullshit, and you grow a stronger community and people realizing what you're doing.
Well, and that's why they're attacking you. That's why they're censoring us. That's why they're attacking people. Because if you go against the grain and you do not obey, we have to punish you. We've been punished on YouTube. We've been punished on just this show alone. You know, I always say, if we had a podcast about anything else, we had a podcast about food, we probably wouldn't have to go to work anymore. We'd both be making 80 grand a year.
We should be dancing around like those kiddie channels, right? And fucking,
we should be the next Miss Rachel or something, and we'd have $4 million in the bank account, and life would be good. But we chose politics, and we get punished for it all the time because we simply don't toe the line. And it's going to get way worse as we come into the election. All the social media channels are going to start clamping down on election disinformation and all this shit. Fact checkers are going to be coming back out. Trust me, for the 2024 election, they're going to pull out every single stop.
Yeah, I disagree with you guys to some extent that they have to know this doesn't work. I think it does work. I think if it didn't work to some extent, they wouldn't waste their time. As I've said, as Michael Malice has said many times, like, they wouldn't bother with the propaganda if it didn't work. Right now,
well, like, the propaganda definitely works.
Why is it that we have to do all of these things, not just us, like every other show, other independent? Because it's in a sense, not propaganda, but where they're unraveling the propaganda. If no one was doing this, it would just be the propaganda. It would work way more than it works already. Now, the margins, that's where we have to attack, like the margins. There are people who are not convinced that Donald Trump is good. I'm not even convinced Donald Trump is great, but I understand what's going on in general. But I'm talking about like someone who's completely unplugged from whatever's going on. Like, they just hear the most basic corporate press talking point, but they're not a shit lib either at the same time. That's where the margin is. That's where the propaganda is aimed. Who is that person going to show up and vote for or whatever on election day? That's where we fit in to try and explain to people like that what's really going on. Educate yourself, be a critical thinker, etc. So I do think that the propaganda does work.
It definitely does. And the reason why we have to do all this extra shit, your question from earlier, is because the propaganda worked and people got comfortable. People, you know what I mean? Like, and people were played for a long time by the government. There's no questioning that there wasn't corruption behind World War II and World War I. We just spoke moments ago about how you could use the Espionage Act to arrest protesters of World War I. So the government's always been dirty, but we're in a new time and people have so many creature comforts and there's so many distractions that's why this propaganda works, and we need to do extra stuff. During the Obama era, it was made to seem like everything was perfectly fine in this world, and it was the snowball effect to the culture we have today. And it worked out because everybody had their head in the sand, living their own little life, worrying about just themselves. Okay, yeah, there's a war overseas, but we don't care. We're not there fighting.
It was mission creep, dude. You know, like back then, the government was much smaller. Now it's the largest organization in the history of the world.
It grew so big, now they can't hide their shit anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It was mission creep, though. It didn't just get like that overnight. It was a little bit over time, over the course of 100 fucking years.
That's a great way to put it. Yep.
So let's go to this video that you referenced before, Jamie, because I thought, man, this is just so goddamn pertinent today.
This shows the fear. This shows the fear.
And this is James Comey, the former head of the FBI. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this guy, right? Going back to 2016, and he's being
Russia.
Interviewed by Jen Psaki, the former White House press secretary.
You've said that Trump poses a near existential threat to the rule of law. And this is something, similar language that I hear privately from national security officials, some people you and I both know, who will say this privately about what a second term could mean. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like.
It looked
He
like
could
me being
order
rock hard.
the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list. Because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could commission, direct that individuals be pursued. He could also direct all kinds of other conduct that people would maybe take to court to try to stop. But who enforces court orders? Mm-hmm. Mostly the United States Marshals Service, which is in part of the executive branch and reports to the president. And so President Trump could say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says or these district judges say. I'm telling the Marshals Service, don't enforce the court order. And so our Constitution really does give a rogue president, which is what this would be, tremendous power to destroy. And so that's why I'm trying to warn people, given the way he said he intends to operate.
I want to stop real quick. Did you hear what he just said? He said the Constitution gives a power for there to be a rogue president. But then at the same time, he's like selling himself and the agencies as like the protectors of the Constitution and protectors of democracy. What he's explaining, God, I hope to Jesus Christ that Trump is as based as he's making him sound. That's my biggest criticism of Trump. He ain't going to do any of that shit. Like, he didn't drain the swamp. I hope he really is. But everything he's saying is the opposite. It's really 1984 here, man. It really is.
This is everything. This is everything. So right now, the Constitution allows for a rogue president because the president is going after his greatest political opponent and considers him an enemy.
Also, the president is the head of the executive branch. Yeah. All of these agencies exist underneath the executive branch. When the president is elected by democracy, the thing you purport to defend, he is given a mandate by the people. If the people want to elect Donald Trump, like me, if I'm going to elect Donald Trump, it's because I want him to smash the administrative state. That is my will of democracy, right? Like, you know what I mean? Aren't we supposed to be defending democracy here? Then he has every right to get rid of the administrative state. But it's telling to see what a guy like, obviously Comey's probably scared him for himself here. I think he even admitted that for himself personally.
He knows he's screwed.
The agencies, this goes back to what you were saying before too, Jamie, like the entitlement sense that these corporations have and the agencies have. They are they have this mindset that they are entitled to exist as a thing when it's not guaranteed in the Constitution. He just admitted that, didn't he? He just said that the Constitution gives a rogue president power to shut down the agencies and come after people and whatnot. But for some reason, they just think that they're the government, they're the law, they're democracy. An unaccountable, unelected agency is democracy. It's so goddamn backwards.
To them, it is.
It is. It really is.
From his point of view,
the president has to be on their side.
Yeah.
In order for democracy to work.
Right.
It's literally what he's saying.
That's exactly what he's saying. Yeah.
If not, he's then rogue.
Yeah.
Right.
He's scared.
No, this is 100% fear. What he's saying is, if Trump gets back, like, I'm considered an enemy, so I'll be in trouble. So I need to do everything I can to make sure he doesn't get, reelected.
Let's finish it up.
If he's reelected, this will be something we could never have imagined. Again, it seems like science fiction in a way, but it's what another 4 years of Donald Trump really promises, which is why people criticize CNN for their town hall. I want the American people to stare at the threat that we're facing and understand that they cannot take the next election off.
Can't take the next election off. Got to go out there and vote for Trump.
There's so many more things to take from this. Is there any question anymore if James Comey was impartial as his job as FBI director? Obviously, he fucking hates Trump. So there goes him being impartial. I'm also thinking back to Cap. Do you remember when we did the skit of how many former intelligence heads now work for MSNBC,
Twitter
CNN,
and all that,
etc.? This is the former head of the FBI talking to the former, press secretary of the current administration, and they're talking about how much the current political opposition to the current administration is a danger to democracy, but then they're acting as if they're impartial somehow.
Yeah,
that we're just normal citizens giving our take, right? Jen Psaki now works for wherever the fuck she works, the inside interview. I'm just an impartial person, right? Just giving you my opinion. I don't really work for the thing anymore. Same thing with James Comey. It's also goddamn transparently corrupt and phony. It's insane.
That's why I'm glad, he said it. I want people to watch. Yeah.
Me too.
You're just not going to get the response you want from the people watching.
Yeah. That Trump CNN town hall did wonders for Trump.
Yeah.
Again, it was like an opportunity for him to feed a red pill, especially on something like the war in Ukraine, where people like, a lot of people don't like this policy. And he's like, I just want to end it. I don't want people to die anymore. A lot of people on the periphery are probably like, that's the only guy who said anything like that so far.
Yeah.
When Trump went into the town hall, I didn't really watch it, but I did read a lot of articles of how people were so upset at CNN for even hosting him.
Yeah. Their head of the head got fired now. He's out.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So and my point after reading all those articles, in my head, I'm like, how un-American have we become that people cannot have an opinion or listen to another side?
Oh no,
that is insane, and we witnessed
party.
And we witnessed it with Nick Merckx. He had an opinion and got ostracized for it, and we are not willing to sit down and listen to both sides or any other sides. It's either you are on our side or you're our enemy, and that is so un-American to me, bro, and it makes me very angry.
I think a lot of people need to understand that these and it's kind of doing the same thing that they're doing. But to understand, like, these people don't give a fuck about like what you think is like being American and freedom of speech. They don't care about it. They don't respect it. They don't value it. They will fucking throw you in a cage. They'll kill you. They'll kill your kids. They'll do whatever the fuck they have to do to get their way. So this is like the main theme of our show is please understand that's what these people will do. Just they don't at the moment they haven't gone full heel turn yet, but that's what they are. To an extent. Cap, I know you're chomping at the bit. What were you going to say?
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, I don't know what else is left to be said about it. It's just so transparent. Like
eventually it's only going to get worse. And, before long, really what a lot of this leads to is the left is making so many micro attacks and microaggressions that they're just waiting for the right to do something. Every time there's a school shooting, it's right away a white supremacist with an AR-15, and they're just looking to try and get a rise at the other side so the full force of the government could come down, and anybody who votes for Trump is now a domestic terrorist and you should be arrested. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities before we start seeing like the president or the administration start talking about like taking action, like physical action. Like if you spread election disinformation on Facebook, the FBI is coming to your house.
Yeah. I think they're still in mission creep. Like I was saying before, mode, just they've accelerated the creep level.
Yeah.
I will say it'll be interesting to see if somehow Trump pulls it off and he wins.
Yeah.
What happens? And he comes in and, not only am I interested is this guy for real this time, and is he going to really go and schedule F? Everyone's fired, right?
Yeah.
Order 66. There you go, Cap.
Or are they going to send him, to Dealey Plaza and go for a ride in a convertible? Me and you were talking before we started today. When he went to the Miami courthouse and he left, a person was able to like run out into the street and get in front of the motorcade, and then like chaos ensued, and a bunch of people were chasing the motorcade after him. Like, that doesn't sound right, man. Like,
nope.
That's like a failure of security by the Secret Service and the police in the area. Like, how the fuck does that happen? He's politically charged.
Yeah.
He's coming. You have plenty of boots on the ground in the area, but somehow a random person is able to run out in front of the motorcade. Like I was saying, what if that guy was packing a gun or some shit and tried to take a shot at him? It probably won't get through the truck, but how the fuck did that even happen? Did that situation even occur? In my opinion, right in front of the courthouse as he's leaving, like that should not have been able to happen. That's suspicious in and of itself, in my opinion.
There was a guy marching around the front of the courthouse with a real pig head on a pike and, trying to stir trouble, that's saying if he's, if they arrest him or whatever, we should start rioting and protesting or whatever. There's agitators in the crowd over there.
Yep. All right, let's shift gears to our final segment, the tweets of the week. We got some good ones this week. I know, Captain, you only got one.
I only had one. I refused. The second I found out that Trump's arraignment was coming, I knew there was no information of use that was going to come up on my news feed.
On your news feed, there is plenty of information that is useful.
On my personal news feed, there was going to be nothing but your basic. We got him.
Yeah. Fair enough. So I found some interesting stuff, and then we'll rotate with yours. So I got from Sal the Agorist. Ironic that Trump will be persecuted under the Espionage Act after he persecuted Julian Assange using the exact same law. A reminder that whatever power you enable the state with will be used against you in short order. I thought that was pretty wise.
I always remind people, you want to set the precedent for how Trump is treated. When the tables are turned, those same rules are going to bite you in the ass.
True. Again, one of my legit criticisms of Trump is at the end.
Will he do it?
Yeah. No. Well, not will he do it, but at the end of the presidency, why didn't he pardon Snowden? Why didn't he pardon Assange? Instead, he pardoned Lil Wayne and what's his name? The other guy. The two rappers. Like,
no idea.
Not that I have anything against Lil Wayne or anything, but fuck, Edward Snowden is a fucking American hero, and he's an enemy of like the whole administrative deep state, and Donald Trump didn't pardon him. Come on, So I again, the biggest thing I take from all of this is I hope Comey's right. I hope James from We the People is right, and Alan, I hope they're right. That this time it's going to be different. This time we're getting the revenge tour of Donald Trump.
Old Gavin Newsom. Fox News loves to say that California is doomed. The truth is, California's economy has continued to outperform the nation. Our state is #1 in the nation for new business starts, #1 for access to venture capital funding, that one I believe, and #1 for tourism spending. I want to see these reports because I do not believe any of that. There is no way with California taxes that it is #1 in the nation for new business starts. No way.
California has an unfair advantage compared to some of the other states. It's a beautiful place, right?
Yeah.
It has like scenery, national parks, great weather in the south, really cool stuff in the north, industry, like farming areas, wineries.
Mountains and woods, yeah.
Gavin Newsom is the first governor in the history of California to preside over a loss in population in California. So that's never happened before, right? Even and California's had a lot of bad governors in the past.
Yeah.
But Gavin Newsom is the first who has, like, he's outdone the inherently natural good things about California and made the place such a shithole that more people left than came in. Yep. Going to the part about the access to venture capital funding, well, yeah, no shit, because they've leaned into the ESG woke stuff, right? And that's where all the access to capital comes from. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that one. Definitely. I don't know about #1 in the nation and new business starts and whatnot. I don't know how that's
no
possible.
way with the taxes. Yeah.
I mean, it probably was back in the day for tech, for San Fran.
Right, that too, right? Like, maybe,
but those companies have left to go to Texas. A lot of those companies went to Texas.
Yes, right. So maybe he's not even lying, right? Maybe so many companies left California that there became such a void of just someone has to do stuff that it ended up becoming like a whole bunch of businesses opened up to fill the void temporarily.
Maybe he told his team, we need to subsidize these ideas and have these people start a company. Maybe that could be it too.
Yeah, that's big government. That's exactly what big government would do, to be honest with you.
Hey guys, I fucked up. Let's finance bankroll this company real quick.
All right, my next one is from NIRH Action Fund. And they say abortions are beautiful and we'll never stop celebrating them. Heart emoji and smiley heart emoji. I don't know. I gotta say anything here. I mean, every once in a while I get one of these that people celebrating, people
killing babies.
Yeah, celebrated. And I've made the point before that there's pro-abortion people that they're not pro-choice. They are actually pro-abortion. Like they like and enjoy the act of committing an abortion. And that's how far like the whole thing has come now in 2023, where before we used to have like no one liked doing it. It was like a thing that it was like a shitty situation you got yourself in, and it happened, and people would like accept it and move on. To now people like tweeting about how it's great. Everyone should get an abortion.
I still remain pro-choice, but that is despicable. That is speechless. Like we're in the cult, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is they conduct legislative and political advocacy in New York and with partners nationwide. Previously operated in narrow pro-choice New York. That doesn't sound pro-choice to me. Loving abortions.
Weird flex, bro.
Chime in anytime you want here, by the way, Jamie.
I mean, but Nick Merckx gets his shit taken down.
Right.
Well, because the agenda
right,
shows that we have to harm children.
If
you are pro harming children,
that's a great point.
Fine. He said, leave the children alone. His whole career is thrown out.
I'm with my man Nick Merckx. I don't know if anybody's here. If I'm support, I'm gonna relate all this, but my man gets his operator bundle taken out, but that's okay, and that could be on the platform. I don't know.
But that's what is okay. That's the agenda.
Protect kids. We remove your operator bundle. And we try to cancel you, but kill kids, and it's amazing. We celebrate you, or we don't even do anything about it. Yeah. What a time. What
it's a clown. It's a clown world. I tell you.
It is. You'll appreciate this one.
Oh.
This one is actually old. This is from 2020, but it resurfaced recently, and it's fucking hysterical in my opinion. And it's just for context for those who are listening, it's Heath Ledger's Joker while he's whispering into the ear of one of those gangsters. And he goes, "Mother was a wine mom and a libtard. One night, she turns on the news, drunker than usual. Ruth Bader Ginsburg had died. She wanted to tweet my reaction as her 7-year-old son, but I had nothing to say. She didn't like that. Not one bit." I don't know, man. That I thought that was fucking hysterical. If you guys remember that scene from
yeah.
The Dark
That's where
Knight.
he fucks him up.
Talking about the dad,
how he got his scars,
the knife in his bars, in his scars, and like that's where we're at too with this whole thing, right? Like I can't tell you how many videos I've seen of people, virtue signaling with their children over like political issues.
I love
would not care about. Obviously, this is like satire, but I could see this. To be fair, this is satire. But this is from.
But it really did happen.
This is from 3 years ago. I can now see this occurring in real life, like someone having posted this or try to actually do this for real.
Yeah, I always love those tweets where it's like, my 3-year-old was crying, "Mommy, is the world gonna end? Is Donald Trump the president again?" And I said, "No, sweetie. The Lord and Savior Joe Biden was elected president."
Yeah. No, that didn't happen. You're just making it up most of the time.
Yeah.
All right. This one you'll probably find interesting, Cap. This is from the Colorado Republican Party. And they tweeted today, "We negotiated an unprecedented deal with the Libertarian Party of Colorado that if we run more limited government and pro-liberty nominees, they won't run spoiler candidates. Together, we can break the stranglehold of Democrats' one-party rule over Colorado." I thought this was fucking super interesting. So the Libertarian Party of Colorado has made a deal with the Republican Party of Colorado saying like, "Hey, you better run some better fucking candidates."
Oh, so what we've been saying.
Yes.
Yeah, force them to run better. Yeah.
Entered into a deal with each other where the Libertarian Party has leveraged its position to get like some assurances from the Republicans, at least in Colorado. "Hey, you better run better candidates. Or if you don't, then we're going to run somebody against you. Yeah, we're going to get 4% of the vote, but you're going to lose by 3% of the vote. So if you don't do that, you'll win, but you have to win. You have to run better candidates."
People,
I think
very nice.
This is interesting, and it's the third
party accountability.
It's the Mises Caucus. It's the third party thinking outside the box and trying to like use whatever little tiny leverage they have to actually have an effect on what's going on.
Yep, I like that. That's awesome.
All right.
So was that the Libertarian Party of Colorado extending an olive branch to the Republicans? Like, listen, we need to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, but how is that? Why is that rare? Isn't that how it should be? Like, you should be working together.
You gotta.
In a sense, I'm saying that there should be no division. You know what I mean? Like, it should be like, hey, whoever's best. Like, that's what democracy is. Like, whoever is better, go for that. But the whole, I mean, I'm not too versed in Colorado politics, but the fact that the Democrats is just running the whole thing is crazy. Like the whole state, like all the elections and stuff. That's insane.
It's a blue state. It's been like that for a while. What's nice to see here, though, is there's an actual threat of accountability now. If it's that important to the party winning, and also what usually happens with the Libertarian Party is you're allowed to run until you start making waves, and then they'll just change the rules and fuck you over.
So you can't, right? So I'm all for it. I know there's been a lot of criticism today by other libertarians, like, no, this is the wrong, strategy. We should run our own candidates. I don't like,
you know what though? This is something good though. This is something good though. So remember when Professor Giordano said, "Yeah, you want to have universal health care? All right, let's test it in one state. Let's test it in one state. Let California have universal health care, and we'll see how well it works for them. And then we'll roll it out to several other states and see how well it works, and then we'll do it nationwide." So now we get to see in one state that the Libertarian Party is holding the Republican Party accountable for the 4 to 5% of the vote. We're going to see in one case doing something like this, how it will result.
Does it work? What's the kind of like candidate that the Republicans now pick? Is the margin going to be the margin that they win by? Because then if it does, that's a fucking great win in my opinion for the Libertarian Party. Now they've realized, okay, we can have an effect. And again, like Dave Smith has said this before, like the Libertarian Party, it's a party that it intends to not exist.
Yeah, they don't want to run. Nobody
at some point, like it's not a party that wants to rule over you or win gamesmanship of politicalness. It just wants there to be liberty for everyone. It doesn't matter how that's achieved by any means necessary. And if we give up and we shut down the party, but we get a libertarian, Republican person in there who's going to like fight for liberty, great. Who gives a fuck?
And on top of it,
if there's an L or an R next to their name.
Yeah. On top of it, the libertarians shouldn't be complaining, because when push comes to shove, if they don't produce a good candidate, guess what? You run your own candidates. That's
the thing. That's the thing. This agreement comes with, like, if you don't run a good candidate, then we are going to run somebody against you and spoil the margin.
That was a good tweet.
Yeah. All right. My last one is just outrageous.
Oh boy.
And it's by Taylor Lorenz, who's just the worst. And former, I think, Washington Post journalist. She's just a complete joke.
Oh, I read this one. This is fantastic.
She Tucker Carlson's first episode of Tucker on Twitter, and she goes, "It's wild to see what a fish out of water he is on the internet. No jump cuts, no background music, no catchy thumbnail or video title. Not sure how he's going to stack up against even an average streamer or YouTuber." Let's see. Let's see how Tucker stacked up. 116 million views. That's how he stacked up. I mean, we get 30 to 40 an episode. Tucker got 116 million.
Yeah.
Back when Tucker was on Fox in the primetime slot as the #1 show on cable news, he was getting 5 million viewers a night. He's got 110 million more by posting on Twitter, of all places. It's not even on a fucking television. It's on Twitter. It's such like a niche place for it to be. He's got, I mean, Taylor Lorenz, man, what an absolute joke of a tweet that was. And to be honest with you, like I think
that's double what a music artist like Cardi B puts up on YouTube. They get 56 million. This guy's got double that.
You want to laugh? The video got 1.7 million views within Taylor Lorenz's tweet of it in of itself. I think she's not even 100% right. Like, Tucker is a fish out of water now because he's not part of like the corporate news world where they live in another their own reality. Where they just think, I don't know. They, again, like going back to entitlement, they just think they're entitled to, like, we say what the news is and everyone listens to us and we're supposed to get all the accolades and all this shit. But then Tucker, again, Lee, who was kicked out, essentially is fired, and he goes and tries a free market alternative for himself and he ends up being 100 times more successful than he was on the corporate press thing. That it should be another white pill in of itself. Yeah. Any other thoughts, boys? As my last.
Well, he's a lot more dangerous. That's what she should have thought. He's a lot. Yeah, you could try to clown him, but his influence reaches millions of people, as you can tell by the analytics, which is a lot.
I agree. When
it'll just show. It just shows where it's another finger on the pulse of average Americans. You know,
when Tucker lost his job, I was of the opinion that it's not good because he was reaching a segment of people that aren't being reached with like an alternative message. But I don't know. Now I'm rethinking my
reaching more people
because he's reaching
a 10.
100, I don't know, tenfold as many people. He might it might not matter. He's reaching so many more people. So many people are interested in what he has to say. And his first 3 episodes have been really good. I mean, the one today that came out, I highly recommend everybody go and watch it. It's a little bit different too, even than what he was doing on Fox News. I mean, it's a little bit more unapologetic and talking a lot. He always talked about war, but I mean, man, it was on point today. Even talking about Trump, and the reason why they all hate Trump is because he just fucking pointed out, hey, they lied us into war in Iraq. And he pointed that out on the debate stage. And he's like, if there's one thing you don't say to the establishment people in charge, it's that they lied us into a war and whatnot.
Profited.
Profited from it. And, they destabilized. Don't ever point out, in public that their policy didn't work, especially the war ones, right? Like that's like an Achilles heel for them. So, yeah, it's a white pill. What Tucker's done in three 12-minute episodes. That's it.
Yep.
All right,
boys.
Sign it off.
It's been another great episode. Ortiz, thank you for popping on with us and
you got it, man.
Going all out. Thank you for coming on. Check him out on Kick, right? I don't know. I was about to say Twitch.
Yeah.
Give out your name again.
You can find me on Kick and on YouTube. It's on Kick, it's KRYZZZ, and on YouTube, it's KRYZ, KRYZ Gaming. I'm at the top. Come stop by and say hello. Just hop in the chats.
There we go, buddy boy. All right, thank you guys, Doom Nation. I hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Peace out.